Welcome back. Today we're diving into really quite a remarkable chapter from Exodus, chapter 38.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The level of detail is just extraordinary.
It really is. Our plan is to unpack all these details. What exactly was built according to this text? How was it done? Who did the work? It's like getting the ancient blueprints and the project report all in one.
Exactly. It's this incredible precision that stands out. It's much more than just a description. It feels like, well, like specifications and an inventory list.
Totally. And it jumps right in, starting with the altar of burnt offering, made from acacia wood.
Right, acacia wood, and the size 5 cubits long, 5 cubits wide, so a square base.
A perfect square. Now, a cubit,
Mm-hmm.
it's roughly, what, elbow to fingertip, maybe 18 inches?
Something like that, yeah. So we're talking maybe 7.5 feet square.
Sounds about right. And 3 cubits high, so about 4.5 feet tall. Quite substantial.
And not just plain wood, as you said. It was overlaid completely with bronze.
All of it.
Yep. And a key detail they mentioned the horns at the four corners. They weren't stuck on. They were like part of the altar itself, all one piece.
Ah, okay, so integral to the structure.
Makes it feel very solid, very unified.
And then it lists the tools, the utensils needed for it. It's also bronze.
Right. Pots, shovels, the sprinkling bowls, meat forks, fire pans, basically everything needed for the sacrifices and maintenance.
They thought of everything, down to the shovels.
And then there's the grating, also bronze. It says it went under the ledge halfway up the altar.
Okay, and it had rings.
Bronze rings, yeah. And poles went through those rings.
Let me guess, acacia wood overlaid with bronze.
You got it. And the text specifically says the poles were put in the rings on the sides for carrying it.
For carrying. And wasn't there something about it being hollow?
Yes, that's a crucial detail. Made hollow with boards.
So it looks solid, heavy bronze, but it's actually transportable.
Exactly. That hollow structure, the carrying poles, it tells you immediately this wasn't fixed in place. It had to move with the people on their journey.
That makes sense with the design. Why put so much effort into something portable, though?
Well, it really underscores the whole idea, doesn't it? That the sacred space, the place of worship, traveled with the community. It wasn't tied to one location yet.
Right, that context changes how you see these details. Okay, so from the altar, what about the bronze basin? The one for washing.
Ah, the basin and its stand. Yes, crucial for purification.
And the story behind its material is, well, it's something else.
It really is. Quite moving, actually. It was made from bronze mirrors.
Mirrors! Whose mirrors?
The text says they were mirrors belonging to the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting.
Wow. Okay, stop and think about that. Bronze mirrors back then. Polished bronze, they must have been pretty valuable personal items.
Absolutely. Prized possessions, most likely.
So for these women to give up their own mirrors, their way of seeing themselves, to be melted down for this communal sacred
It
object.
says a lot, doesn't it?
Mhm.
About the depth of commitment, the collective nature of the whole project,
Yeah.
everyone contributing what they had.
Yeah, it really speaks to that, transforming something personal into something holy for everyone.
Exactly. Okay, so we have the altar, the basin. Now let's zoom out a bit to the courtyard, the big enclosure around the tabernacle tent.
Right, the outer boundary. And the scale here is pretty impressive, too.
Definitely. The long sides, that's the south and the north, were 100 cubits each.
100 cubits. So, like, 150 feet. That's a long stretch.
Yeah, quite long. And the shorter ends, the west and the east, where the entrance was 50 cubits wide, so about 75 feet.
Okay, so a big rectangle, 150 by 75 feet. And the walls weren't solid.
No, there were curtains made of finely twisted linen.
Finely twisted. Suggests good quality, right? Not just rough cloth.
Probably implies high quality, yeah.
Yeah.
And these linen curtains were held up by posts.
How many posts?
Okay, so on the long north and south sides, 20 posts for each side. And each post sat in a bronze base. So 20 posts, 20 bronze bases per side.
Got it. And the shorter west end?
10 posts and 10 bronze bases. Simple enough.
But the east end, the entrance side, was different.
A little different, yeah, because of the opening. The text says there were curtains 15 cubits long on either side of the entrance gap.
Okay, so flanking the opening.
Right, and each of those 15 cubit sections had 3 posts and 3 bronze bases.
So 3 posts and bases, then the entrance gap, then another 3 posts and bases, 6 posts, 6 bases total for that end, framing the entrance.
Exactly, and all the bases for all these courtyard posts were bronze.
Bronze bases. But what about the hardware? The bits holding the curtains up?
Ah, good point. That was detailed too. Silver hooks and silver bands on the posts.
Silver, okay, so bronze bases, but silver hardware up top.
And it also says the tops of the posts themselves were overlaid with silver.
Huh. So you'd see the bronze at the bottom, then the post, then these silver bands, silver hooks holding the linen, and a silver cap on top. Quite a specific look.
Very specific. And speaking of the East End entrance, the curtain for the entrance was special.
How so? Different material.
Yes, and decoration. It was made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, mixed with that same finely twisted linen. And crucially, it's called the work of an embroiderer.
Oh, wow. So not just dyed fabric, but intricate embroidery. That would have been stunning. Very colorful.
Definitely the focal point. And the size was 20 cubits long, perfectly fitting that entrance gap we talked about, and 5 cubits high.
Same height as the other courtyard curtains.
Exactly the same height, 5 cubits.
And how was it held up?
4 posts and 4 bronze bases, matching the other bases. And like the other posts, these 4 had silver hooks, silver bands, and their tops overlaid with silver too.
Okay, so consistent hardware style, just 4 posts specifically for this main embroidered entrance curtain. Anything else structural?
One last detail tying it all together, the tent pegs.
Ah, right, to hold everything down.
Yeah. All the pegs, for both the tabernacle tent itself and for all the surrounding courtyard curtains, were made of bronze.
Bronze pegs. Solid, functional. Okay, so that covers the build the altar, basin, courtyard, curtains, posts, hardware, pegs, dimensions, materials.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
But the chapter doesn't stop there. It then shifts into something almost like accounting.
And accounting, you mean like a tally of materials?
Exactly. A full breakdown of the precious metals and bronze, how much was collected, how it was used. It feels incredibly administrative.
Like reading the project's financial report.
Sort of, yeah. It says these amounts were recorded at Moses' command by the Levites under Ithamar, Aaron's son. Feels very official, very audited.
And it even names the project leaders, the chief craftsmen.
It does. Bizzle, son of Uri, son of Hur, from the tribe of Judah. He's credited with making, well, everything the Lord commanded Moses, the lead architect and builder, basically.
The main guy. And wasn't there another named craftsman?
Yes, Aholiab, son of Ahisamach, from the tribe of Dan. He's described specifically as a craftsman, a designer, and an embroiderer. Remember that entrance curtain?
Ah, the blue, purple, scarlet, and linen one.
He was likely the master artist behind that. It highlights specific skills and even tribal contributions. There's a clear organization here.
Definitely. Okay, let's get into the numbers then. The metals. Gold first.
Gold. The total used for all the sanctuary work came from the wave offering, a community contribution. It amounted to 29 talents and 730 shekels.
Talents and shekels. A talent was
Yeah.
a lot, right? Like 75 pounds or something?
Roughly, yes. So 29 talents, that's over 2,000 pounds of gold. It was an enormous amount.
Wow. Okay, and the silver, where did that come from?
The silver source was different. It came from a census. Every man, 20 years old or older, 603,550 of them, had to give 1 bika,
1 bika. What's that?
half a shekel. So a small, standardized contribution from every single counted man.
Tied directly to the community count. How much silver did that yield?
The total was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels.
Okay. And did they say how that was used?
Very specifically, the 100 talents, they were used to cast the 100 bases for the main tabernacle sanctuary structure and the inner curtain, the veil.
Wait, 100 talents for 100 bases. So exactly 1 talent of silver per base.
Precisely. A direct link. Each foundational base representing a large chunk of the community's contribution via the census.
That's quite symbolic. What about the leftover silver, the 1,775 shekels?
That smaller amount went into making all those silver hooks for the posts, overlaying the tops of the posts, and making the silver bands we talked about earlier.
So every bit was accounted for and allocated. Amazing. Finally, the bronze.
The bronze also came from the wave offering, 70 talents and 2,400 shekels, another huge quantity of metal.
And its uses.
Also itemized. The bases for the entrance to the tent of meeting itself, the entire bronze altar, including its grating, and all the utensils, all those bronze bases for the surrounding courtyard posts and the courtyard entrance, and every single one of the bronze tent pegs.
Okay, so bronze was for the heavier foundational stuff, the tools, the things meeting weight and stability at ground level, mostly.
Seems that way, yes.
Yeah.
It provides a really clear picture of material allocation based on function.
So if you put it all together, the measurements, the specific wood, linen, metals, the source of the materials, like the mirrors, the exact weights, the named builders, the administrators, it's just, wow.
It paints a picture of an incredibly organized, meticulously planned, and spiritually significant project.
So why? Why record it all in this much detail? It's more than just we built a tent. What does this extreme focus on the specifics tell us about how they viewed this whole undertaking?
Well, I think it profoundly emphasizes the sacredness of it all. Every detail seems deliberate, part of a divine pattern that needed exact execution. It suggests that following God's instructions was paramount, down to the last shekel of silver or the last bronze peg.
Really, the process itself was an act of worship.
In a way, yes.
Hmm.
And the accountability, tracking all the contributions and materials, it shows immense seriousness. It's interesting how it parallels, in principle, modern large-scale project management blueprints, materials lists, budgets, named contractors, just using ancient terms and measures. The need for precision and accountability seems timeless for important builds.
That's a great point. The principles are recognizable. So we've walked through Exodus 38, the altar, the basin for mirrors, the huge courtyard, the linen and embroidered curtains, the silver and bronze hardware, the specific metal tallies linked to offerings, and the census, the named craftsman.
It's an incredibly detailed snapshot of construction and administration from thousands of years ago. Really gives you a granular view.
It does. So as we wrap up, think about this. What does this intense level of precision, this almost obsessive accounting for every detail, imply about the value placed on this structure and its purpose? And beyond just materials, what kind of community effort, what level of sheer organization does it take to pull off something specified to this degree? What detail from all this stands out most to you?